Again. Hi, I'm Gosego. I'm a birth doula. I'm based in Pretoria, in South Africa, and I specialize in assisting deaf and hard of hearing moms. I had the honor of being part of the cohort that did the first decolonizing maternal health retreat with Mmatshilo. This was in November 2023. And this was such an illuminating experience. I think the one thing that I appreciated more than anything about it was that it really had the sense of birth. As it is, I appreciated, I know Mmatshilo had plans and, plans for the whole retreat that, on a certain day, this is what we're going to do and everything. However, true to the nature of birth, we went to the flow of the event. And it was so, so this is the issue that I have when I have to talk about that retreat. I always run out of words because it's such a difficult thing to explain. It was such a deeply spiritual experience, even in moments when I didn't expect it. And the connection, even the people who were part of the group, it was different people from different backgrounds, but it linked into the birthing process, and learning about birth and everything, because we had people who dealt with trauma, people who've experienced trauma themselves, people who actually worked in raising funds for things related to maternal health and things like that. But one thing that was a very great common denominator was that all of us, we had the sense that we want to know about the spirituality of birth and to learn from the people who I would say generally have the gift matrilineally. It's a gift that came through Mother Nature. And of course, most of them were also trained, most of us were trained in our expertise of birth work. So getting into this and then going to learn from traditional midwives was all inspiring as well, because the connection to nature was so deep, to a point where there was, I think, one midwife who uses her elbow to assess a birth and even the baby in utero and everything. So the whole thing was just mind-blowing. It was also beautiful in a sense that it felt like we were in a little portal. Yes, we were on this earth and everything, but it felt like we were in a portal of our own, and everyone just gelled together. There was an interesting exchange of information throughout the entire time, that at any given moment you could be sitting next to someone that you've never met. I didn't know any of the people who were there, but the conversation was so easy because there was a true sense of wanting to exchange information and experiences, and that sort of thing.
I'm so sold. You have reminded you have reminded me, Gosego, uh, is that, which I didn't mention in our earlier conversation, is that this is a journey of our own healing as well. You remember at Naledi Farm, a lot of stuff came about people who went through termination of pregnancy or who lost babies in their lives, and that stuff comes up. So this is also a journey where some of our deep-seated traumas come up, and they come up in a very safe space. So it's almost like we're giving birth to ourselves as well, and just taking your ways, Yeah.
Absolutely were. It really was like giving birth to ourselves, because actually with the journey that I'm on right now in an aspect of indigenous midwifery, I realized that it started on that retreat. And it was almost like, and with the any kind of spiritual journey, it's like a part of you has to die to give birth to this new
Yeah.
journey and everything. So everyone experienced a rebirth of sorts. And we held each other so well. Mmatshilo. I think in retrospect, these are people that I feel like I haven't spoken to most of them since the end of the retreat, but I feel like if I needed anything, these are the people that I would call and I would get it. It was so special
Yeah.
the way we gelled, and we really understood each other. And I mean, even at a point where we were still trying to remember each other's names, but when someone was experiencing some kind of emotion or a spiritual shift, you were held very quickly, very quickly. And also, people didn't shy away from holding you. And I mean, at some point, I remember in supporting you, Mmatshilo, when you were going through your own thing, because I think that was another beautiful thing, that it's not that you were just running the whole process. You were a part of it, and you experienced your own shifts and spiritual journeys and everything. And there was a moment where you were crying. Let me put it that way. You were crying,
I was in
and
a trance.
you
I
were
was in
in
a
a
trance.
trance,
Yeah.
and we gathered
Yeah.
around you to support you. And I remember that because of the number of us, not everyone could hold you, but there were some people. Savannah, I remember specifically, she put her hand on my shoulder. And I remember thinking that I know now that the energy that she's passing through to me for you, I should pass it on. And that was a big lesson for me too, that I should trust what I'm feeling. I definitely felt an energy from her. And I knew that I had to trust that I can pass on that energy to you. So that it was a proper gathering in so many ways. And it was very fulfilling.
Yeah. And that's also a powerful reminder. I said it earlier, Charlotte, that this is a two-way process. I receive a lot as well.
Mm.
I receive a lot from the retreat. I receive a lot of healing. I also, kind of receive without doubts and being insecure the gift of the ancestors. And that time when we were under a tree and I was, kind of in a trance, I remember you were the one who were kneeling next to me and you kept on saying, let the lioness roar, let the lioness roar.
That was so bizarre because I didn't know why I said that. And I said, just roar, Mmatshilo. And Charlotte, when I tell you, she roared. That village, we were supposed to actually see people running out of their homes. The way you roared, and you roared from deep in your spirit. And afterwards, I think it was Chris who asked me, like, how did you know what to say? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know what to say, but that was the exact right thing or apt thing at that moment. And to learn to be guided
Yeah.
in the moment, and not. And I think that was also the important thing of feeling safe in that space, and just trusting everyone around us, because that when you hear something and you say it as you hear it, we got exactly the outcome that was supposed to
Yeah.
happen. I really appreciated that, Mmatshilo. I'd forgotten about that for a moment. That
Yeah.
was powerful.
Yeah, but also, Josego, I got to also mention that, as the convener, you forget yourself as well. But throughout the trip, you are the one who always came close to me and said something in my ear. You did the same thing in Venda as well, especially at the time where everyone is in a trance and my role is just to make sure that, everyone is okay. And then you would creep almost like stealthily next to me and whisper in my ear and thank me for the work. And somehow you were there for me. You held space for me. I said it to you at the time, but I want to say it again, that you should know that you held space for me.
Thank you. I agree. I think you had moments of being the convener and, then thinking about the next thing. And I remember a specific moment where I came to you and I said, do you see what you have achieved? And yes, I remember that. I think and I'm grateful for that too, because, it's, yeah, in the moment, you in the swing of things and everything. And it was a beautiful thing, Mmatshilo. I think it was important to me as well that you see it as it happens, and it's a nahore, you only remember things in retrospect and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I also had a beautiful appreciation for the fact that your daughter was there, and we had that discussion, and I'd said to her that I'm grateful for you to be experiencing this with your mother, because some of us, there are a lot of these things. We would appreciate having, it would be great to have these conversations with our mothers in community and everything, and we don't get to do that a lot. And that was also a beautiful sight to behold.
Yeah. And my sons.
And your sons. Yes, absolutely. And your sons. That was so beautiful, Mmatshilo. I think also it was the feeling of community, which is what we always strive for in birth work as birth keepers. And we're saying that women shouldn't be birthing alone. There should be a community and everything. So it was great to go through a birthing process of our own in community, and with men as well, because the idea, it shouldn't be that birth work is solely for women birth keepers and everything. I think men would have a deep appreciation of understanding culturally as well, where they can contribute towards the process and the spirituality of childbirth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you are, Charlotte. I think I can sum up what Gosego is sharing with us in one word: trust.
Mm,
One word.
and
Trust.
magic and goodness and empathy and
Trust.
transformation.
Trust.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
All right.
That portal, I think I have to add this, I think, or emphasize again on this, that you know yes, we had days where we were sitting in a group and then we would have dinner and then the groups would split a little bit. And there was a night, Mmatshilo, I don't know if I told you about this, that I had sent Chris a message and I said, hey, do you want to come to my room? Let's have a drink outside my room and everything, because remember I had a garden as well. And Chris came, and I actually have in my journal, I have a name for that night. I call it the Gathering Under the Stars, because Chris came it was probably like 10 p.m. at night. And I mean, we were just supposed to be meeting for a drink. But when we came together, when she came to my doorstep and everything, we were dressed the same. We had our heads covered, our shoulders were covered. And in an instant, it's like we knew that we were about to have a deep discussion. At some point, then, as we sat there and I looked, there were trees there, and I looked just above the trees. I saw like there was a specific place that was very dark, but it looked like it was velvety on the inside. And I mean, incidentally, some men would also say that the inside of a vagina feels velvety, but it looked like the dark purple velvet and everything. And I got the sense that we are going to share some very personal things. And that's exactly what we did. We told each other things we had never told other souls before. We had that gathering, and it was literally an exchange that, so what do you think about this? And then I would share. And then I'd ask a question, she would share. And when we were done, we were like, okay, thank you.
Did you have a drink?
We had a drink. Oh no,
Okay.
we had to have a drink. It was so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so intense. We had to have a drink. But the whole thing, how we came, and I mean, we came from dinner wearing shorts and everything, but when we met, we came. It's almost like we came as old women.
Yeah.
We came as old women, and we just met, and we shared what we shared, and then she went to her room, and I remember that day thinking to myself that I would not be surprised if in the middle of the night I opened my eyes and one of my ancestors was standing there. That's how spiritual it felt, and it was otherworldly.
Yeah.
There is
Wow.
there is always so much power when birth workers gather, when women gather, and when we cultivate this trust and when we cultivate this shared experience and we're going there and we're doing womb work and we're doing ancestral work and we're figuring out like not only how can I heal my ancestry, but how can I be a good ancestor for the generations to come? And when we're coming together and doing that work and asking those questions and doing the healing, like I mean, I keep saying this and it sounds so cheesy, but it's revolutionary. It's world
It is.
changing. The ripple effects are endlessly powerful. And now in 2025, this is such a cool and powerful time to be a woman. And at the
Mm,
same time, we're like, I feel like we're kind of waking up collectively to the fight. And that's something that Mmatshilo and I
yeah,
talk about all the time. Like we have such different backgrounds. We come from such different walks of life. Yet, like we have such a similar fire burning within us. And sometimes I hear you talk and I'm like, oh, that's the thought I had, but you just said it out loud, you know? And I
yeah,
and I know and I know that a lot of people like there's constantly this echoing and and I know it, like we're gonna keep coming together, we're gonna keep having these conversations, we're gonna keep healing together, we're gonna keep growing together, and then the revolution.
I absolutely agree. I think when also the intention is
Hmm.
the same,
Hmm.
um, it's telling. I mean, in Venda, Mematsilo threw me in the deep end, and she asked me to be the interpreter. And I don't speak Shivenda. I need subtitles when I'm watching people speak Shivenda. And I actually did the translation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that
Wow, cool.
first language barrier that was broken, that blew my mind. And then the second one was when we were in the doctor at the doctor's practice where we met where we handed out the material, the gifts.
Ntate Tiani.
Kondatisia.
Tiani
Yes,
Center. Tiani Center.
yes. There was a point where, again, I was doing the interpreting and everything, and one of the elderly midwives said something to me in her mother tongue. And before, as she was saying it, I remember Savannah was nodding and she was agreeing. And I asked her afterwards, and I said, "What were you agreeing to?" And she said, "I heard everything, but I don't know what she was saying, but I heard everything." And she said she then realized that it was a connection with also her musical training because she hears sounds differently.
Cool.
So one of the things she would hear before I could even translate and everything. And I think the intention, the openness to hear and to learn and to exchange the information and everything was so deep that there wasn't even a language barrier really for some people.
Mm.
Right.
So beautiful. Thank you so
Wow.
much for sharing all of that. And also, Mmatshilo, thank you again, just echoing what those other women were saying. Thank you for your gift, for your fire, for your curiosity, and for curating all of this and for bringing us together. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay. Thank
Matilo.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.